Okay, so Miss Michelle Raymond, take it away.
Thank you so much, guys. It's so good to be here and to be with you all. So, before we get started, I like to know who I'm speaking to. So, before I even introduce who I am and what I do, I would love to hear from you guys. If you could put in the chat what type of business you do, but I want you to look at it from a different perspective. So some of you might be coaches, consultants, some of you might be IT specialists, but I want you to let me know what you can do in respect to larger organizations. What can you offer larger organizations based on what you can do? So just put that in the chat. So if you're a coach, you might say, I can coach female leaders. If you're a speaker, you might say, I speak on, team development. Whatever it is, because you're here in this masterclass, I'm assuming you would like to get some contracts with larger organizations. I call them corporates, but they don't need to be the biggest corporates in the world. They could be small, medium enterprises that have the money to pay you to do what you do best. All right. So let me just have a look in the chat and then I'll get started on the presentation. So oh, I like that, Giselle. Posture and movements expert. Okay, I can see. I for each answer everybody's given, I'm trying to see where that would fit because I can tell you off the bat whether it will fit and whether it won't fit with organizations. So keep them coming. What have we got? So Marsha, coach specializing in talent. So brilliant. So if you were, I'm for each of you, I'm going to just give you a few things that you can, how to rebrand yourself when you're speaking to corporates. Yeah. So you would position yourself as a talent acquisition specialist. That's for you, Marsha. Yeah. So they don't hiring coaches for talent, but they were hiring somebody who's a talent acquisition specialist. Yeah. Cool. And recruitment, that's brilliant. It is what it's it is what it is, Linda. That's perfect. And Jenny, I can coach C-suite women in the area of their intimate health. And oh, nice. So it does. That's really interesting. Okay. So that will definitely come under well-being. That will sit probably along menopause or something like that. Okay, great. Lady, providing educational game, focusing on skills for children between 7 and 12. Okay, so obviously employees are not 7 to 12. Could you do the same game? Just put in the chat. Can you do the same game for adults? Yeah, just I'm just putting it out there if you can. Okay, so we have Audrey. I can facilitate training, which can explore how to work creatively with professionals. Right, brilliant training. They buy training all day long. AI, they love AI. Okay, good. All right, so no one's got anything really wacky that I would have to say, no, they wouldn't. So the only person, okay, so Laddie, if what you offer, you can offer it to adults, or you could sell it to parents, that could possibly work as well. Rochelle, passing the baton, CIC. Okay, love that. We offer development. Brilliant. Okay, good. Nice. All right, I wanted to do that before we begin, just to make sure that I am speaking to the right people who want to get in front of corporates. So put a one in the chat. Do you want to get in front of corporates? Do you want to try and sell your products and your services to corporates? Just let me know in the chat. Okay. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to show you the quickest way to get in front of corporates and get them to know, like, and trust you. Because I want to show you something that can circumvent the learning process or cut it in half, where you don't need to tender, you don't need to go for procurement and fill out loads and loads of forms. I'm going to show you a way that you can do it. And it's literally by building relationships, right? So I'm going to show you that now. So the title, therefore, is From Contact to Contract. I'm going to show you how to actually, I'm going to stop sharing because what I'm going to do, I just heard something in the background. Hold on for me, guys, because I don't want to be disturbed. Awesome. Okay, that's gone. Okay, so what I want to do is show you how to use your personality, your character, your charisma, your wit to win over corporates. Because at the end of the day, corporates are people, right? It's a people's game. This whole thing is a people's game. And so I'm going to show you the best way to do that. Will that be okay? Let me know if that will be okay in the chat. Just put a yes to say no, Michelle thought it was something else. All right, I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it, and I'm going to show you what I do. Okay, so a little bit about me, just in case you don't know me or you didn't meet me at the event. My name is Michelle Raymond, as you heard before. I am a CEO and founder of the People's Partner, which is a coaching consultancy. We do HR, we do leadership training, and we do executive coaching. We operate here in the UK. I'm in the UK at the moment, but we also operate in the UAE, namely in Dubai, but we're looking to expand to Abu Dhabi and Saudi. So these are I would say the UK and the UAE are my playground. That's where we operate. So I do a lot of training out in the UAE for the oil and gas industry and around executive coaching that some of you do. So you're definitely in good hands. Okay, so I'm also a trustee. I'm a university guest lecturer. I'm the founder of the Diverse Business Summit and the Diverse Business Summit Global, which is taking place in the UAE. So this is about relationship building. I want you to really get that in your gut that everything I'm going to show you today is how you can be better at building relationships, but with corporates. Now, I am an avid relationship builder. I'm an avid relationship builder because I understand that if I can get to know people and get them to understand me, I get to understand them, it's easier for me to sell. I don't have to do the full-on hardcore sales. And I don't know about you, but when we're selling to each other all the time, we get tired. I don't know how many of you get tired when you're just selling to each other from consumer to consumer. We're seeing the same ads all the time, and you're always being sold to. Now, I want to make money just like you. So my thought was, how do I build relationships with different corporates so that I can sell my services to them? And these are some of the companies that I've sold. That's just a snippet that I can sell them to. Then they pay me more money. And because I get more money, when I want to work with people who I really love, like you guys, I can subsidize it. Because the target market that I want to work with, if I'm charging them 15,000, 20,000, it's too much. It's too much for my target market. So I make sure that I sell my services to corporates. They pay me well. That means I can then subsidize what I offer to people who wouldn't normally be able to afford it. Does that make sense? Just let me know in the chat. Do you understand now why that's my reason for selling to corporates? Because I want to serve people like you at a better level where you can afford it. I don't want anyone to have to remortgage. I don't want them to steal from Tony to pay Paul. I want people to be able to afford it. So I sell my services to Amazon, to Mac, to BMG, to UCL. Kingston University is not on there, even to them as well. And for all of these companies, I know that they work with diverse suppliers. That's what we are. They work with small business owners. That's what we are. They work with women-owned businesses. They work with disabled-owned businesses. They work with business owners who are neurodiverse. And they have a spend that they need to use with us. And it's my job to make sure you are ready for the money. Are you ready for the money? Let me know if you're ready for the money. Let me know in the chat. Okay, good. I can see. Good. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Awesome. Okay, so this is what we're going to walk through today. I want to show you three critical factors to working with corporates. Then I'm going to show you their most valuable need If you meet their most valuable need, they will pay you. They will think you're a lifesaver. These people are overwhelmed, they're stressed out, they've got targets to reach, they've got KPIs to reach. If you could just remove some of their pressures, they will pay you for it. And then I'm going to show you how to maintain those relationships to make it easy for you to say, actually, I would love to work with you. You've known me now for a period of time, and I want to do more work with you. When you do that, they'll say, okay, let's have a conversation. Let's have a meeting. How much do you charge? And that's the conversations you want to be having. So let's look at the critical factors in building these relationships. Now, first and foremost, when you're working with anyone in the corporate world, I mean people who are senior, I'm not just talking about, the cleaners. I am talking about the decision makers. Their expectations are very high. So you have to come correct. You have to come correct. You must know your stuff inside out. And you don't need to know everything because you're going to know more than them. But you need to know what you know. And you need to know how to communicate it. Because you could be very good at something, but because you do not communicate the value that you bring to the table, you can lose the gig. You lose the engagement. Another thing is their time frames are very short. So you need to hit the ground running. I had a call with a company just today, just before we got on this call, and I said, listen, I don't want to even waste your time. I just want to I said to her, I want to be direct and intentional. This is what I need from your company. And can we have a conversation around it? That is it. And then she goes, wow, okay, I love this. Because I know that her time is short. I don't have time for all the long, long pleasantries. I just wanted to get to the meat. And so yeah, we've got a meeting in the diary for next week. So bear that in mind, and their time is limited, right? So they don't have much time in terms of when you're asking for, can I have 50 minutes? Can I have 30 minutes? You have to be intentional and get to the heart of the matter really quickly. So that's three things I would need you to bear in mind. Also, when you're talking to decision makers or people that can buy in your services, position yourself as an advisor. Position yourself as an advisor. Now, if I was to ask everybody what you all do, you will say, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, I'm a speaker, I'm this and that. But I don't see anyone, even when I read through your answers, no one said that they're an advisor. I might have missed it if you have. But when you position yourself as an advisor, they respect you more. They feel compelled to pay you more because you're an advisor. And an advisor, it could be a consultant. So, how I position myself, although I'm an executive coach, I position myself as a leadership advisor. The conversation is different. The conversation is different the way you position yourself. It also increases your professional capability and how they see you. The perspective changes. So I would advise anyone here, you don't need to go and change your LinkedIn. That's not what I'm telling you to do or asking you to do. But when you get in the room with some of these executives, some of these C-suite, and when I'm talking about C-suite, they could be chief executives or chief information officers, chief technology officers, anything that begins with a C, position yourself as an advisor. You could be an advisor in coaching, an advisor in speaking, an advisor in team development, team behavior, an advisor on women in leadership. But I will promise you without a doubt, this changes the game. I know this because I have people in my membership, and I said, when you have the conversation, say you are an advisor. The conversation was different. All right. So that's one tip I want you to take away. You don't need to change anything on your LinkedIn and your social media, but I want you to have those. Um, I want them to believe in you. I want the client to have that strong belief in your ability to deliver, in your ability to understand their needs. Now, a lot of people try and sell their services and not understanding where the corporates are coming from. When you position yourself as an advisor, you're in listening mode. You try and listen what the problem is, and then you will try and solve the problem with whatever solution you have. So you need to be talking. You have to be talking to these people all of the time because what happens, your name gets called up in conversations. And you need to be talking to different stakeholders in the company, not just the one. Because when they leave and move on, you have no other connect. The cash is in the conversations. So you need to be talking. Every time I'm talking to somebody, I say, well, what we're going to do, let's follow up in another week or so. We can just keep the conversation going. Because now when I go in for my arcs, it makes sense because I've been speaking with them. I've been building that relationship with them. I want you to establish your credibility. Do not feel like you're the small one and they're big because the people you're talking to don't know what you know. You are the master of your own craft. So what I want you to do is to stand up and own it. Own your craft. Establish your credibility. Build that rapport with them. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Understand what's on their agenda. So I always, when I'm having conversations, the one I was speaking to today, I said, I know what some of your problems are. Please let me know. And she told me, and I was able to say, I totally understand that. That's why I want what I want from you, because I've got what you want. Once you understand what's on their agenda, what's on their to-do list, it changes the game and it helps you identify a need that you can help with. Okay? We want to be these advisors. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I'm going to look at all of them at the end for you. This is what I did with this lady who was part of my membership. She wanted to do after school coaching for parents. And I said, let's have a conversation with them to find out what's the real problem. We may think we know, but once we did our due diligence, asked the right questions, I was able to put together a proposal for her because she was on our program. That's one of the services we offer. We put the proposals together. And she called me, and she doesn't work for me anymore. But she still called me because it was, I say it happened 2 months after we stopped working with each other. And she said, Michelle, I got it. I got the gig. And now she's an after school, I don't know, an after school coaching expert of some sort. But this is because she understood what their needs were and she was able to manipulate what she offers to be able to offer to them. Does that make sense to everybody? Rather than selling what you do, listen to what they need and adapt what you have. So you can't be overly precious about your frameworks, overly precious about your proposals and your pitch deck. You have to be willing to modify it and to amend it and to change it. Let me know if that makes sense. Just put a yes in the chat if that makes sense to you. And let me see in the chat if that makes sense to you. And then we're going to go over to their most valuable needs. Let me know in the chat. Does that make sense, guys? Good, 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 good. Love that, love that, love that. Okay, so let's look at what their valuable needs are. They are all time poor. Guys, every single one of them are time poor. I was on a call with Lloyd's Banking Group today, and I was sitting there listening to all the challenges, and I thought, oh my God, I could bottle this and sell it. They were reading off all the problems they have, all the situation, and I thought, oh my God, I can find people I can put them together and who can save them time, who can make them money, who can help push an initiative. That's what they want. If you can do any of them, they want to speak to you. So you need to make sure, how do I get some time in their diary? When I want to have 20 minutes of their time, 30 minutes in their diary, how can I do that? Why should they make time for me? Why should they make time for you? Let me show you. If you can do these three things, if you can promise that you can show them insight, so basically something new about what they're doing, something new that you know because you've done your research, you've got the data. If you can provide them something new, they're going to want to listen to you. So it might be, you may know something about the market conditions of young people. You may know something about I do a lot of work with multi-generational, multi-dimensional, multicultural people in organizations. So I can tell them if they don't do X, then I know why it's going to happen. I can, when I say that to them, they want to hear. You need to show them a different perspective, a different way of looking at something because they're so set in their ways and they see something the same way all the time, all the time. If you can show them a different perspective and how to reframe their problem, they're going to want to speak to you. They'll happily give you 30 minutes of their time. They'll happily give you 45 minutes. So you need to be having those conversations where you can share that with them. And whatever you're sharing with them, it has to be relevant. It has to be relevant because timing is of the essence. You can't sell something to a corporate when it's not relevant to them right now. It'll never happen. And how do you know when it's relevant? I'll tell you, because you're continually having conversations with them, they'll tell you. They'll let you know when they're starting to look for more executive coaches for their senior leadership team. They'll just tell you in conversation. And you make a note of that. That's me. I make a note of it all the time. So I know when to go back to them. When I'm looking for sponsorship, I know when to go to them for sponsorship. Because when they said no last year, I asked them, when's the best time to approach you for sponsorship? Every single company told me I know exactly the right times to approach them. So let's look at the benefits of building those relationships. Yeah. They can use you without having to do the marketing to get someone like you in. So you already saved them money. And then they can use that money to pay you more. When you invest time in building those relationships, it's brand reputation. It's great brand reputation. I can tell you, and I proudly say that I have a number of companies, they will sing my praises because I've done such a good job. And sometimes you might need to go over and beyond to be remembered, to be able to get that phone call, to be able to get. And this is what happened with me today. I built a relationship with a company over a period of time. I've been going back and forth. I've done some work with them, but it's been one-off gigs. They called me today and they said, would love you to go to Rwanda. This is going to be on the 20th of November. Then they've also said, and we've got Doha and Casablanca as well. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I said, why? I'm very happy and happy to take it, but why? And they said, because you built a relationship with us. They know, like, and trust me. And I want them to know, like, and trust you. So when we build those relationships, we circumvent all and bypass the structured ways because the structured ways says that I need to speak to that person and then that person needs to speak to that person. And then there might be some tender document. I don't do that. I don't do any tendering, literally because I've learned the art of building relationships. So let's look at how to grow and maintain those relationships. Like I said before, you need more than one stakeholder in the organization and you need to follow the person and not the position. So I had a really great connect at, where was she? She was at Amazon. We got on really well. I passed on work to her and all sorts. And then she left. But she carried our relationship with her and now she's in Google. So follow the person, not the position. Make a note of that, guys. Please make a note of that. Reach out regularly to them. You don't need to be a bugaboo, but all you need to do is if you see something on LinkedIn, if you see something in the news about them or about their competitors, drop them a note and say, oh, did you realize that this is what's happening? How does that impact your department? Show an interest. Show an interest. Educate them because there's things that they don't know. If you're an expert on menopause, for example, all us women might be around the same age and going through it, but we don't know how it impacts the productivity of the women in the business, of the employees, but you may know. So educating them on that your thought leadership content, like your long form articles on LinkedIn, they will come in handy writing for blogs and articles. That's where they will see it. And why not? Why not even find out what in-house magazines they have or what types of periodicals. So if it's an accountant, For example, I know that they'll have like a magazine for the ACCA. I'm HR. I know for CIPD, which is the Chartered Institute of Personal Development, that they have a magazine. I've written in the magazine that shows me as a thought leader. So think about the types of industries you want to infiltrate. Do they have a governing body? Do they have a professional body? And try and write for those magazines. You've got to meet them in person, not all the time, but I'm telling you, meet, and we will all know, we've all been to Tony's events. When you meet in person, it's fire. Even at Tony's event earlier this year, after the event finished, a group of us went to Pizza Express. We finished outside of Pizza Express, then we're standing outside talking outside Liverpool Street Station for another hour, 2 hours, because there's something really powerful about meeting in person. And when you meet these corporates in person and they get to see the whites of your eyes, they get to know who you are, it's so much easier to win a contract that way. So much easier. I've won contracts and gigs and smaller engagements just because I met someone over coffee at an event, or I bumped into them in the toilet at an event, or I sat next to them in the auditorium. That's what you won't get on Zoom. You won't get that on Teams. You won't get that on Amazon Chime. That's why you have to do it in person. And why not help them move their agenda forward? I always say if you can help somebody at a personal level, I'm going to show you this now. If you can help them on a personal level, they will trust you on a professional level. They will trust you on a personal level. And let me tell you why. So this is what I call the RBB, the relationship building budget. This is what I have, which means every month without fail. Okay, I'm lying. I didn't do it last month, guys. I didn't do it last month. But the month before, I think I did it, and I'm not doing it for November. But I have a relationship building budget. And this is where I take them out for a meal, for lunch, or I might send them something in the post. And this just shows a level of a level of caring. If we use, in the words of Tony, a level of consciousness, because I understand their needs. This is what I've done with Fan, I've done it with Kerry, I've done it with Reshma, I've done it with Chris. And all four of them will do anything to get me in. They will do anything. I'm actually now working with BP at the moment, working on something. I actually want them to sponsor an event I'm doing in Dubai in March. And that came through Kerry. I met Kerry in person at an event. We got on really well. We stayed in contact. Then last year, I said to Kerry, what are you doing on a Friday? Found out what he's doing for lunch. I said, let's meet for lunch. You have lunch on me. Let's break bread. And you know where I learned this from? Because it's not my doing. The relationship budget thing is my thing. But building this relationship by taking people out for lunch or giving them something. There's a book called Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. Keith Ferrazzi, Never Eat Alone. And that book just changed the way how I build relationships with people, not just with corporates, just in people in general. So now, if I need anything from JC Decor, if I need anything from BP, MSD UK, CBRE, now I've built the list from there because I have and sometimes the budget is 100, is sometimes it's £100 if it's lunch, or it could be more if it's dinner. I try not to do dinner, but I might do lunch, or if I've seen something or I've had a conversation with somebody and it triggered off something and I saw a book, I'll say, oh, can I have an address? I've got something that I want to send to you, send them the book. I did there was another lady from Ernst and Young. I remember she was at my event last year. She came to my event and her daughter was in hospital. Listen to this. She came to my event and her daughter was in Great Ormond Hospital. And I said, wow, oh my God. I said, I'm really appreciative that you came. And she said, that's why. She said, no problem. I can't stay to the end because I need to go back there. And I said, fine, no problem. And I I contacted her on International Daughters Day, National Daughters Day. Remembered her daughter's name and everything. And I said, I just sent her a note and I said, in the spirit of National Daughters Day, I just want to wish you much love for you and your daughter. I hope she's well. How is she doing now? I know that she was sick. And you know what she said to me? Michelle, I cannot believe that you even remembered. With your event, you were running around. How did you remember? But it's because I want to build long-term relationships with people. So I may not see everything at the beginning, but in the years to come, 2 years to come. Now that same lady, we were at an event and she was broadcasting what's happening at my event this year, how people need to come. I didn't have to ask her to do that. I didn't have to pay her to do that. Now, when I go back to Ernst& Young and say, listen, I want to build up my portfolio with companies like Ernst& Young and Deloitte. I would love to do some executive coaching with your leaders. What's going on within the teams? She's going to tell me, right? Of course, she's going to tell me. Do you see what can happen when you build those relationships with people? Do you see how that can happen? So this, I love this quote. I wanted to share this quote because this is from my pastor. He said, "Your resources are in your relationships. Anything you need." When I look at how my team is structured and people who are outside my team, how I know I can call on somebody. Do you know what, guys? If you needed 20,000, 30,000 pounds, do you have people in your network that you can just send a text to and say, listen, I'm in desperate need. I need 20K. I need 30K. I'll give it back to you. Will they give it to you? Have a think about that. Will they give it to you? Or will they struggle? Or will they think, oh my God, I don't really trust her. I'm not too sure. This is what I'm talking about when your resources are in your relationships. You just need to start building it before you need it. Build the relationships from today before you need it tomorrow. And this is why I say what I say. This is why I do what I do, because I understand that when we get into a position of need and you're desperately trying to find money, you're desperately trying to get engagements because you're looking at your bank balance, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay your mortgage, and you're desperately trying to find work. It's because you haven't built those relationships over a period of time. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to start investing in now. And it doesn't have to cost you a thing. It doesn't have to cost you. Just be present. Sometimes when somebody is talking to you, you just look at them. I was at the UK Black Business Show and I'm telling you, there was people left, right, and centre calling. Oh, Michelle, Michelle. But when I was talking to somebody, I know the value of being present with somebody. And I was looking at them and I could see, I'm telling you, my peripheral vision, I could see this person coming towards me. I can see that person. But I was talking to the person in front of me because I know how it would make them feel if I'm talking to them. I'm saying, yeah, I know. Oh, you're right. Hi, how you doing? You're going over there. So think about ways. How can you be more present for people? How can you go that extra step with people? So one thing with corporates, I'll give you a little tip. One thing with corporates, I'm saying corporates, but I'm talking about the people who work for these corporate institutions. They are very charitable. So they pay, they donate to charities. So one of the things I've learned to do is find out what their closest charity is to their hearts. So they might have a company charity, but I want to know personally, what charity do you support? And because then I can help donate into that charity. Those little things go a long way, and it's not a huge amount. You don't need to tell them how much. You don't even need to tell them at all if you don't. You can just do £20, £30, and to say, I would love to support your charity. These things go a long way. These things go a long way. So, what's your next steps? Your next steps is to find them at events. Try and attend a live event at least twice a quarter. Some of them are going to be free, some of them are going to cost you. Put your money aside to be in the room. Sometimes we prioritize our monies for the wrong thing. But if you are really serious and you know you've got offers, you've got products, you've got services that you can sell into corporates, you don't need to do all the tendering process because actually to even tender, you have to have a certain amount of income and you need to have certain policies in place yourself in order to tender. So we're not even talking about tendering. So I'm now talking to you about contracts under the 70K mark. Yeah. So usually for tendering, it's anything between 50,000 upwards that you will have to tender for. But you can get contracts outside of tendering for 50K easily. You can. You can. So if you're used to just negotiating for £500 here and £700, start thinking in the thousands because they don't recognize hundreds, right? They don't, you could probably do a speaking gig and you can get £500, but they're used to paying £2,000 or 3,000 or 5,000 or 10,000. So sometimes we need to change our own thinking. You go to the event, sit with them, talk with them. And there's ways that you do that so that it doesn't look like you're bombarding them. Leverage your low-hanging fruit. There are people in your connections right now that you have not even told them what you do. There's a talk that I deliver, and I call it the three I's: the insiders, the influencers, and the impacted. The insiders are people that work within organizations. Now, you must know another employee. You must know an employee. All right. Have you reached out to that employee and tell them what you do? And if they can introduce you to someone, be very intentional, be very straightforward about it. Can you introduce me to somebody? An insider or the influencers. So your influencers are those people who sit with the decision maker. They may or may not be the decision maker, but they sit with the decision maker. You may know someone at that level. Have you shared with them what you do, how you do it, the solutions that you solve, the problems that you solve? Have you done that? And the last one are the impacted. These are people, the end users. Do you know anyone who's an employee who will benefit from what you offer? Just let's do it now. Just have a think. Do you know another employee that you could speak to? Just let me know. Put a yes or no. If you don't know any employees, if you do, just put a yes in the chat. Do you know another employee? Let me know in the chat. Let's have a look. Cool. Now, Frederick, Herman, who else we got? Barry, Pauline, Jenny, Rochelle. Now tell me, have you told them what you do and have you asked them to do an introduction for you? And don't be ashamed to say no, because not everybody does it. You sometimes you wouldn't even think to do it, right? So let me know. Have you asked each of the people that you know who are employees if they could introduce you, if you do well-being, have you asked them, could you do me an introduction to your well-being team? If you do IT or AI, can you introduce me to your CTO or someone who heads that division? I love that, Rochelle. Yes, I have my contacts have been shared. Brilliant. So what I want you to do is to share it not just with the insiders, but think of someone who's even more senior and think of people who are impacted by what you offer. Awesome. Who else? Yes, Herman, we've got to. Jenny said, ask Mo last night, funny enough. Just the one. Okay. Keep it up, because these are low-hanging fruits. You're never going to ask somebody who hates you, right? You're going to ask somebody who knows, likes, and trusts you. You're going to ask somebody who has your best interests at heart. And you create, and so this is what you do, and this is what I do. You make it easier on them because sometimes dynamics in employment can be funny. You just say, is there anyone who I can speak to who will be open to speaking to me about A, B, and C, whatever I do? Um, this is what I do. Now, what I do is I actually create the email for them. So I'll verbally tell them, then I'll create the email and I'll make the out that the email is from them. And then I'll say you can amend it or change it. So it's easier for them. It's called a self-forwarding email. So literally, if I ask Barry, for example, I will give Barry an email and say, and the email will say, Hi Jan, my friend, I know someone by the name of Michelle. She's an executive leadership coach. She's a leadership advisor, and she wants to find out if there are any opportunities within the firm where she can come in and deliver a talk, or she can do a lunch and learn and show you the power of cultural intelligence in marrying up together multicultural, multidimensional, multi-generational teams. And she's available. These are her details. So I put the email together so Barry doesn't need to think about what shall I write about you? What shall I say? Make people's life easier, because then it's easier for them to sell you. Remember, decision makers are not just made at the first level. They have to escalate it, and somebody else needs to find out, and then somebody else might need to find out. So if you make their life easier, you'll have your bio ready. You might have a little profile about who you are and what you do. You might have some images ready. So when they're asking, you can just dish that out really quickly. All right. So does that make sense, guys? Put a number 2 in the chat if you understand when I'm talking about leveraging your low hanging fruit. And this is something all of you can do now. If you do nothing else, you can do that easily, and you will get work. Somebody I know, she's not even a client. She heard me speak about this at an event at NatWest. She followed up. Then she sent me a message to say, Michelle, because she did that, she got her first 10K contract, and now she's negotiating her 15K contract. She's not even a client of mine. Didn't even part with any money. So sometimes you can take on the advice. You don't need to give me the money. Take on the advice, do it, and just let me know how you get on. All right. The last one is speak at events, of course. Speaking is a prolific way of getting your message out to more people, establishing your credibility, showing the world that you know what you know. So speaking at events, you can speak at events as a keynote if you're ready. Keynotes are very not difficult, but they're quite challenging. If you're doing it for corporate, you need to really know yourself inside and out, the depth and the breadth. And they usually want 60 to 90-minute keynotes where it's just you speaking. There's no Q&As, no nothing. All right. Or you can sit on a panel, or you can be a session speaker. So a lot of organizations, they run conferences. All of them run conferences. And they're always looking for outside experts to come in. But they don't hire speakers, they hire experts that speak. I'll say that again. They are not scouting the internet looking for speakers. They are scouting the internet looking for experts they can bring in who can speak about their expertise. So that's another point that I want you to really bear in mind. Okay, so speaking at events, you've got keynotes, you've got session speakers, you've got panelists. You might They sometimes do roundtables. I had one in Portugal where they wanted me to host a roundtable. You can do that as well. So these are the different things when you're having the conversation. These are some of the things you can be asking about. I'm actually doing a masterclass on this, on how to get paid speaking events as well. So those are the areas. Is this good so far, guys? Are you learning something? Let me know before I do the last part. Are you learning something? Have you got any nuggets? I want to hear them at the end. So don't say yes if you don't know. Definitely, absolutely, definitely love it, love it, love it, love it. Good. I basically my job here is to show you a different way of getting corporate contracts, the less hassle way. I find this the easier way because I'm a relationship person anyway. So I find it slightly easier. If you're not, then this may not work for you and you might find a different way. But sometimes it's just being yourself. That's it. You don't have to put on any airs or graces. You don't need to try and sound different or be different. You can just be yourself because that's what they buy into. So, how many of you are ready to build those relationships? And let me show you how you're going to do it at an event that I'm organizing. So, let me tell you about the Diverse Business Summit. Now, actually, I saw some names and I think some of you already come in, so well done to you. This event I have done specifically because I saw that there was a need for people to build relationships with corporates. So I have been, how can I put it? I have been working tirelessly to get some serious brands on board for this, to get them to leave their day job, to come on a Friday, because the 15th is a Friday, to come on a Friday and to sit with us, to talk, to engage, to take the relationship further, to learn, to negotiate, to get insight and perspective. So you can see some of the brands there as well. But let me show you what happened last year. So I'm no event organizer, guys, by the way. I've just put on one event. It went really well. Then I was encouraged, pushed to do another one, hence why I'm doing another one, right? So these three people attended the event. Maxine, she attended. She got two paid contracts. Now, the event is not there for you to get the contract. That's not how I've designed the event. I've designed the event so you can build the relationships. You build on it in your own time, get your contracts if a contract comes up in your time that you've built the relationship. So these happen in within 6 months of the event. Toby, he started doing some work with a company and now he's running their digital marketing team. Sabine, she got a speaking engagement. Some of you know Emmanuel Asuko. He got two hosting gigs from the event. He was my host. He did a brilliant job. And so he got two hosting gigs. So this is what can happen. I'm not telling you that it's going to happen, but these are people who followed up. And I'll tell you why they followed up because they came to my post-event session. So I'll tell you more about that. So on the day, there's going to be a lineup of speakers, there's going to be panelists, we have master classes, we have roundtable debates, and I wanted to make sure that it's not just sitting and listening, it's going to be very proactive, very engaging, where you get to, I want to promote and push people in the audience. So I've already told the corporates, they've already had their briefing call with me on how the day is going to go. So we'll hear from them, but we want to hear from people like you. So you use the time to engage and to share. And then that's why I've organized the corporate open mic. So this gives you a chance to do a 1 minute pitch. And then you have access to 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs because we have people who are coming. They're not from big brands, but they're 8 figure business owners who are looking to bring in new people, experts, and advisors. They're all looking for that. All right. And they were handpicked specifically because of that. So these are some of the names that you will recognize, but there's going to be other people there that you don't recognize who you need to still speak to. Don't feel like because Heinz is in the room, oh, let me rush up to Heinz. There are other ways that you can do this, which I'm going to show you. All right. So, but these are the people you want to be speaking to, the people who you're sitting next to. You don't even know who they are, who they're connected to, that you want to make sure you're engaging with. So, anyone that comes to the event, you get to also go to the pre-event masterclass. So a 1 week before the event, I'll let you know everybody who's there, what they're doing, what they're looking for, so that you can leverage your time better. We don't want the day wasted. I want you to be very intentional, very specific. So that's why I've organized a pre-event masterclass, which everyone comes to. The last time we did it, we had like 95 people attend the pre-event masterclass. So out of 180 people that came. So it's pretty good, right? And then you have a post-event session. And this is where my team and I hold you accountable. What did you learn from the event? Who did you meet? Who did you speak to? What's your next step? What was your learnings from what Lloyd's Bank said? What was your learning from Heinz? What was your learning from the procurement challenge? So we've got a procurement challenge happening. So that no one stays wasted. So you get three events for the price of one. And anyone here, just put a number one in the chat for me. Do you have an interest to do some work in the UAE? It could be Saudi, it could be Dubai, it could be Abu Dhabi. Just put a number one in the chat so I can see. Let me know. They pay more out there, by the way, folks, and it's tax free. So just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. Awesome, awesome. And so we'll be able to share some information with you on how to do business out in Dubai as well. So that's what everybody that comes. So I'll tell you the price of this. It's £350. It includes VAT. That's the ticket. There's a 350 ticket, there's a 470 ticket, but I think there's only 3 or 4 spaces for that. And for the 470, which I haven't promoted here actually, it's VIP. That means you get 6 months access to corporate opportunities that I have. You get 6 months access to all the resources that you need when you're working with corporates. You get all of those kind of things. And there's a meet the buyer session as well, all of that. But anyway, here is the QR code. Take a note of that QR code. It's £350 and you get all that. Once again, we had people that secured paid speaking engagements. And like I said, paid speaking engagements, you can't be going in with your 200, your 250. You need to go higher for these. You need to negotiate higher. All right. If you said, oh, pay me 200, they'll think you're not a serious speaker. You get hosting, people joined accelerators, people collaborated and they pitched for bigger contracts, like six-figure contracts. It's absolutely amazing because that's not what the event was about, but that's what happened. So if anyone is interested, let me know if you're interested. Just put a number 3 in the chat if you're interested. If you're interested, this is all I'm just showing an interest at the moment. If you're interested in coming to the event, then put a 3 in the chat for me. It's on the 15th of November. Awesome. So for everybody that's putting a 3, it's all day, by the way, it's all day. I include breakfast. You get breakfast. I have, we've got porridge, we have yogurts, we have granola, we have fruit, and then you get a 3 course meal, and then you get snacks at the end. All of that's included. I have a live DJ there as well. And remember, if you're in business, guys, you can claim this as expenses. That's why I've put teaching masterclasses because that's the only way that you can offset it for your expenses. So if you're thinking, oh, it's £350, where am I going to get that from? Put it through your business and you can claim it back as an expenses. Speak to your accountant, they'll know what I'm talking about. But it's because it's seen as an educational event, and I've done that purposely so that you can claim back expenses. So this is what I'm offering. If you want to come within 24 and only 5 people, I will give you 40% off your ticket. Yeah. So you get 40% off your ticket if you want to come, but you've got to purchase within 24 hours and it's only the first 5 people. All right. So you will save yourself £140. This is the coupon code you need to use. I'm going to give you the link to the website. Glenys, if you're there, if you can just drop the link if anybody wants to purchase, use coupon code DBS40 Limited. in the code and it will take off your 40%. So this is what I'm going to give you guys. You come to the event, my team will look after you. I have the best team. They will look after you. Anything you need, it will be done at the event. You'll also get access to the pre and post event sessions as well. So I charge for those sessions, you get it. And what I'm also going to throw in is my conversational strategies checklist. This is so you can prepare yourself for the day, know who you're talking to, what you're talking about. I will give you that as well. All right. So the value is more than 5K, but you can either pay £350 if you book after 24 hours, or you can get it for 210. It's your choice. Yeah, totally your choice. And so these are all the details. You can scan this. I will put the link in the chat. I would love to see as many of you there because I've learned firsthand. I learned actually even at Tony's event, at other people's event, that being in the room makes a difference. Being in the room. And this, like I said, I'm not an events organizer, but I am doing this again in March. We're doing it in Dubai, and it's going to be 3 days with a gala, with excursions, yacht parties, everything. 3 days. That's in March. But come to this event in London first, find out what it's all about, see if you like it, see if you like me, see if you like my team. And yeah, you can come to the Dubai one as well. So, what I want to do is open up for questions. Questions about getting into corporates, what you should be saying. Do they buy what you want to sell? Where do I find them? How do I speak to them? Any questions you have on getting into corporates, this is your opportunity. And feel free to connect with me also on LinkedIn and Instagram as well. Happy to do that. Happy to do that. So I'm going to stop sharing for now so that I can see your lovely faces. And I'm going to ask you a question. So be prepared to put this in the chat. What did you learn from what I spoke to you? What have you learned? Put that in the chat for me. Let me know. Thank you, Glennis, for putting the stuff in the chat. Thank you for that. What did you learn? To keep up and build relations. Yes, definitely, Karina. Show up and let them know what you do. Marsha, confirmation that relationships, oh yes, they are key. And we know that in life, right? Why we do it in life, we can still do it with corporates as well. We can do it with, they're people, right? They are people. Awesome. And start thinking about your questions. What questions do you have? Either speaking engagements. So I do lots of speaking engagements, training contracts, how much you should price yourself. What any questions you have, please put that in the chat. And don't forget the 3 I's: insiders, influencers, and the impacted, definitely. Yeah, say your advisor. Yes, yes. I don't care if you're a coach, consultant, speaker, or trainer, you are an advisor. They pay their advisors very well. Help push their initiative. Exactly. Marsha, you feel like I feel like you've been on my call, you've been on my talks before because you're saying all the right thing. Follow the person, not the position. Please do not get blinded by their position now because they can lose it. They can be demoted. They could be made redundant. They could, listen, my background is in HR. A lot of things can happen to people, right? But if you follow the person, build a relationship with the person and not the position they hold. So even if they're not senior now, doesn't mean they're not going to be senior next month or next year. So follow the person, build a relationship with the person and not the position that they hold. I love that, Marsha. Show interest in how you can. I love this. There's lots of learning. Love this, love this, love this. So, questions. What questions do you have for me? Do you have any questions? Let me know. Let me know if you have any questions. And I'm happy for you to come off mute. Just state your name for me so I know where you are and ask your questions. I've got I've got one private message. Let me just check if I'm okay to answer. Okay, yes. So I've got one question so far, and the question is, how much do I charge for speaking engagements? Okay, so what I charge is probably not what you charge. The question, I would probably rephrase it, how much do you charge? Base your um your prices on the value that you bring and the transformation that happens. So it's not really on whether it's an hour, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, because that shouldn't make a difference. What makes the difference is, do you have something that is quite rare? Do you have a signature talk that is going to be hard to find elsewhere? First thing. Also think about how long it takes you to prepare for a talk. All of that adds in. If you had like an hourly rate, just add that times. It takes me a whole day. Takes me a whole day to put together a talk if I'm doing it from scratch, a whole day, because I have to do the research. I need to get data. They love data, love data. So I need to get some stats in. I need to then pull in my own mental resources some case studies or some examples for them. So because I have to do all of that, it can take me a day easily. So now I have to charge them a day rate on top of me delivering the talk. So all of those things you need to add in. So I have one of my keynotes is about entrepreneurship, how to harness top talent in FTSE 250 organizations. And I talk about entrepreneurship, how you can, instead of your top talent leaving the organization, how you retain them by utilizing their entrepreneurial skills. And people, they pay me anything for that because it's like, well, we don't want our top talent to leave. And what's entrepreneurship? That's new. Think, you got to be clever, guys. You got to be clever to get the money. You got to be clever. That's what I'm saying. Don't just say, oh, how to be more productive. It's too lame. What does the productivity do for the business? So you could say, I can deliver a talk on how to remain competitive in your industry by upskilling or increasing the productivity levels of your grade two staff, your grade three staff, something like that. Their eyes will pop out their heads. I'm telling you, they'll be like, oh, I need this because it's a problem. They got competition everywhere. And one other note to share with you, put on Google Alerts. I don't know how many of you use Google Alerts, but Google Alerts is brilliant. So you just go into Google Alerts and just type in the industry that you want to know more about, or type in yeah, I usually do the industry rather than a brand. And because of that, it then sends you alerts like every day or every other day of what's happening in that industry because you want to be knowledgeable about the industry when you're having conversations. Yeah. You want to be knowledgeable. So if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I go to my Google Alerts first and I'll see what's happening within the industry, what's happening in terms of the turnover of staff in that type of industry. And then I can go to them, I sound really clever when I'm speaking to them. But they don't realize that I read my Google Alerts. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you for that, who's sent that to me. Thank you so much. Any other questions, guys? If there's no questions, that's fine.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go for it, Jenny.
Yes, I was just booking. Sorry. I was just booking, so I just made make
Oh,
sure.
you're booking. Okay, no worries,
I,
no
I
worries.
think I'm all booked in now. Yeah, I'm booked in. All right,
Awesome.
I ain't missing that opportunity.
Bless you.
I mean, thank you very much first and foremost.
No problem.
I think the thing is I have this passion for women. I've had it for years. I'm an author, ex-athlete, all this stuff. I've just never really tied it all together very, very neatly. This is where I think is my issue. And when I was a keynote speaker years ago, um, and a afternoon kickstart speaker. I just thought they were great gigs. I think I
Yeah.
had an agent. She didn't really understand what I was doing, so I
Mm,
think I left a lot of stuff in her hands, and as a consequence, it kind of just disappeared. But when I did speak for a bank earlier on this year, and I have maintained the relationship with them, but they just kept saying they didn't have a budget. And in the end, I think after a year and a half, I did do the first talk for free. But I feel like, how do you then, if you've given your stuff away like that, how do you then go from that? I gave them my day rate. How do you
Yeah.
go back to getting them to now take that next step? And because I don't feel I got any feedback from that or anything came off.
Brilliant question. So this, all right, let me put it concisely in what you're saying because I totally hear you. I've been there. So what tends to happen sometimes because we want to work with the company so much, we'll do something free of charge. I call it complimentary, right?
Mm.
You do it complimentary. I do things complimentary for them, especially if they don't know me. And but I give them a caveat. I actually still give them a contract. So on the contract, and it's when I mean it's a very simple one pager, by the way. And the terms and conditions will say that we have agreed to do this very first session complimentary on the proviso that if it goes well and it's well received, well acknowledged, that there will be future paid work within a 12-month period. So that gives them the onus, okay, well, you've got to do a good job. You do a good job. And then it's about, I always say to them, what comes next? So thank you. I did this for Amazon. I did the same thing for Amazon. I did a free lunch and learn for their ERG. ERG stands for Employee Resource Group. And they're like either the Black network or the female network or the disability network. That's what ERGs are. Most big companies have that. That's a really easy way in, guys. And then, and I said, after they said, oh, it was brilliant, Michelle, we loved it, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, so what's next? Because you can't just finish it like this and you're leaving them hungry. They want more. So the onus is on you to make sure we continue this conversation. And they said, yeah, 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 we'll do that. We'll do that. Got busy, got busy. Then 6 months later, or probably a little longer, they came back to me, or no, another department came back to me and said, oh, well, I heard that you did it for this. Can you do it for us? And I said, yes, but I did it for them complimentary. And according to my terms and condition, I can only do that once. And they said, that's fine. We negotiated. I did a good job for them. And then I went to another one. And then a whole year later, I got my first 1 year contract with Amazon. And I was able to negotiate what that was.
Okay.
So it's put it in your terms and conditions. Let them know you're not doing it for free. You do not work for free. You're doing it complimentary. You're doing it complimentary on the proviso that there's going to be possible work later.
Yeah, I think we
I mean,
had
they can't
we had
promise
that
you
we
that,
had that
definitely.
verbally. I didn't put that in a contract, so maybe it's about how I go back to them because I'd still love to work with them. And just like you said, because I'd agreed that with one bank, another company then came along and I gave them a day rate, and they said, "Oh, maybe we can't do it at this day rate because we don't have the budget, but
Mhm.
maybe later on we feel that you could be used later on." So maybe I just need to
And
go back.
even when they say they don't have the budget, go back, push back, and you say, okay, so your department may not have the budget, but where can you pull from another budget that's been underspent?
Ah,
That's what they do as well. They'll just put it from somewhere else.
mm,
Just find out. Never just leave it as a no. Just say, okay, but there may be some possible other budgets that are underspent that you can pull from them. And can we make it work that way? And then just be open to negotiating.
okay.
Brilliant.
One other question. I've
Mhm.
booked the 350 ticket, but if I wanted to change it in a couple of days to the other one, can I?
To upgrade to the 470?
Yeah.
Yes, I will. I've got your name. I will give you I'll just get the team to give you a little code so you just pay the difference.
Okay.
Awesome.
Lovely. Thank you. And
Great.
yeah,
Thank
forward it.
you.
Week after my birthday, so that's one of my birthday presents, right?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Thank you so much. We've got another great question from Giselle. Where do you find the events to go to? Brilliant question. Obviously, it depends on the types of people that you want to be around. Me, I want to be around people with money. Simple as. So I am not going, so it's not that they won't be on Eventbrite. That's a lie. But some events will be on Eventbrite, but the good ones may not be on Eventbrite. I want to go to corporate events, so I go onto the websites of companies. And what they usually do, they will say, "Oh, forthcoming, we've got our upcoming event." They'll let you know if it's open to externals or if it's internal. And I'm on a lot of people's mailing lists. So I'm on different industries' mailing lists, so I can see when events are coming up. So I go on Eventbrite if I want to be an event with other consumers, other entrepreneurs like myself, which I go to a lot. But if I want to, up level now, we need to be making some money, Michelle. I can see the kitties going down. I'm gonna have to go to a corporate event. I'll go to accountancy. I'm not even an accountant, but I'll go to accountancy events. I'll go to law events. I'll go to IT events. I'll go to tech events because I'm there for a different reason, a different purpose. But I'll still go because what I do, I can sell into the tech industry. What I do, I can sell into accountancy. So I would say expand and diversify the types of events you're going to. Do not just go to the same type of events. Try and what you want to do is if you're going to start going to corporate events, go to quite a few of them because what's going to happen, they're going to recognize you and say, oh, hi, Giselle. Good to see you again. That's how you're building the relationships. Yeah. So that's what I would do. So definitely you can look on Eventbrite. Also look at 10times.com. I'll put this in here. Sometimes it's hit and miss 10times.com, right? But yeah. Um, Brilliant. Thank you. That's great. All right, we're gonna take one more question. Giselle, I hope that's answered your question. Uh
Um, Thank
yes, were
you.
you?
Um, but what type of event is it? Is it a networking event, or is it the the events that we're looking for? Is it events that the corporation is holding to find suppliers, or is it a what type of event?
Okay, all right. So they do all of the above, but I would go to their own conference. So when they're holding a conference where people can buy tickets to purchase, I buy a ticket and I go.
Mm.
So, and they may have networking events, but they don't usually open it up to other people when it's networking. It's usually networking within the company. So I will go to conferences, I go to trade shows, I will go to what else? Even for like legals, sometimes they have legals where they open it up to people because they want to work with other suppliers. And that's what I do. So I will look online, I will go on their websites. So it's a mixture of networking, it's a mixture of conferences, it could be session if type of event. So it's all a mixture, but you just go to all of them if you can, within when you have time, obviously. When you have time.
Thank you.
No problem. Last question from Marsha.
Hi, Michelle. Thank
Am
you
I
very much for
lovely?
the presentation today. I'm so excited to attend your event. What I wanted
Awesome.
to ask is this year, my focus was networking and my personal development.
Mhm.
And so I have gone to quite a few events and I've been networking. The issue that I've had this year is I keep stopping and starting because I've not packaged what I want to do correctly. So I'm now thinking of going down the route of what you mentioned about doing hosting to make people get to know me better. So that's what I'm looking for now. Even though I'm doing personal development and networking, I think I'll be a fantastic host. So I'm looking to go into hosting initially, and that's a way of building the rapport with these organizations. That's
Love
something
that.
that I don't need to do with experience, and that brings myself and
Yes.
and me on the stage to people. Am I going down the right route thinking like that? Because I am focused on personal development and making sure when I do package it and execute it, I execute it correct. But I don't need to package anything and execute anything to be a host. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, as you were speaking, I thought, why don't you do this? Why don't you ask ChatGPT to list you a number of 20 organizations within an industry? Just choose an industry, which all right. Or yeah, just choose an industry just to make it clearer for you. Ask them to do 20 organizations within the London area and ask them to give you the names of the events managers, or if they can give you the names, actually they sometimes can. If you've got the latest chat GPT, it can, right? And then what you do, drop them an email. Find the details on hunter.io. Should I put that in there in the chat for you? You can
Please.
find the details on hunter.io or on another one called rocketreach.io. And what you do is reach out to them and say, I am a host, and what's another word for a host? There's another word for a host, but I can't remember it. Just say I'm a host. I
MC.
host panels. I'm a facilitator. That's it. I'm a host and a facilitator, and I'm looking to expand my portfolio and do some more hosting for organizations like yourselves. Is there any events coming up that I could possibly host for? But what they're going to ask is they want to see you hosting. So you must have some footage. Must have some footage. They are never going to just let someone who they've not seen before
Mm,
host. So I would say what you want to do from now, if you have no footage,
none.
try and see if there's any events that are coming up, small events, um, and ask if you can facilitate, host the panel, just do something. Ask them if you can do something and just use that footage. And then if you know you're doing it for the whole day or half a day, change your jacket, change your blazer. So it looks like it's two events. This is how you're going to have to do it because they are going to ask to see it. Let's see how good you are. Let's see how you are facilitating. I was facilitating over the weekend at the UK Black Business Show. It's a skill. It is a skill, but it's not impossible. Not impossible at all. So I think you should definitely do that. Event, yeah, hosting's out. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You can do it. And you know, they want to buy, they want to bring in external people. Usually they bring in external well-known people to host. But if you're not well known, prove that you've got the credibility and the capability,
Thank you, Michelle.
right? No
Thank you.
problem at all. I think we are coming down now. If anybody else has any further questions, because I do want us to finish on time, if you have any further questions, you can feel free to connect with me. Let me just put my LinkedIn here for you. Yeah, oh, I love that. So you can, Jenny said about hosting your own radio show. That will show that you're skilled, but they're going to want to see you with people, like a group of people. That's for sure. They'll definitely want to see that as well and stuff. But I think we're it. So guys, how was that for you? Was it okay? Did I meet your expectations? Let me know in the chat before we finish. Let me know how that went for you so I know that I didn't just waste an hour and a half. Let me know in the chat. Thank you so much, Marsha. Thank you. I think Glenys is back
Yeah,
here.
I
Thank you,
am.
Glenys.
That was fabulous. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm
Oh,
I'm here.
oh, so you
I'm
just
just
went
waiting for you.
quiet for a What
Yeah.
happened? That was absolutely wonderful. I could see the chat just booming up there.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm glad you got some nuggets from it. That's really important.
Wow. Didn't she do well? Like, I'm writing down notes, and Michelle's my girl already. And I'm like, okay, thank you so much, Michelle. That was like, you didn't disappoint, but you never do. And I hope that you got so much from this. One of the things that jumped out for me, Michelle, is about the power of relationships. And I love the fact that you were saying that we should make it almost like a system, that we're regularly going to events, investing in yourself in that way. You know, it's because of relationship that Michelle is even here. Like through conversation, she hooked me up earlier this year with a guy that it was just a blessing. Just from a personal introduction, that person then invested multi-thousand pounds into our conference just based on an introduction. And now we're talking and discussing about how we can work further as partners just from a hookup. So it's living proof. And I'm coming to the event for the same purpose, to just network. And one thing I'd like to just add, because we've got a few minutes to just talk a little bit.
Tony, can you speak a bit louder, please? Or put the microphone next to your mouth? Thanks.
Is that better? Glennis,
It's not very loud, your voice.
is my microphone doing its thing again, Glennis?
No, it's fine.
Okay, cool.
Voice is
Right.
good, but
All right,
yeah.
well, I'll speak up a bit. But one of the things that I found as a result of going to live events, which is for me the most important thing, is you can really tune and key into people's vibration,
Yes.
can't you, at an event? And I think that's what happened with you and I. We'd been talking for a while, but I started seeing you at a couple of events, and I was like, the vibe this girl's got, like, I need to key in. And we started talking, and then when we started talking, we realized that we were vibing on the same level. So it's really powerful, and I hope, ladies and gentlemen, that you got a lot from this. I mean, we are really giving you some amazing speakers as a result of this. Glennis, is there anything that I've missed that perhaps I should mention?
Wow, it was just fantastic. Well, thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
There are some practical tips, things that people just start to do straight away. If they can't start it, they can think about working towards it. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the realness.
yeah.
Bring Michelle. I mean, you just keep it 100, just the way it needs to be. And I love the fact that you said, even though you're showing people different ways to get into corporates, the number one thing that you emphasize is be yourself. Even if that means you do it a different way, just be yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Wow. So I think we've had a few people already sign up, which is great. And I think I loved what you were saying. Was it to Marsha? Was that Marsha? Glennis?
Well, it depends what you're referring to.
When you were talking about hosting.
Oh yeah, hosting. Yeah, yeah. I love that. That's definitely a way in. They just need to see proof that you can do.
Right. So I think for everyone here tonight, it's a case of what action are you going to take? Because it's great hearing the different nuggets that we've heard today, but it's really down to taking action, is it? Is it not, Marsh? Michelle, it's taking action, right?
Always taking action. Always. Each time I do these types of presentation, I always remember, for me, my one takeaway for everybody is the fortune is in the follow-up. This is why we do this post-event masterclass as well. Like going to the UK Black Business Show, how today is the day for my follow-up, because there were so many people I had to talk to, people forget, and this is how we lose money, because we don't remember. We can't be bothered to follow up, and you don't follow up in a succinct way. I usually follow up within 24 hours. 24 hours. Because people forget. People are busy. People have gone back to work. So I would encourage anyone, when you go to events, even if they're back to back, you find time to connect with them properly. Not just a LinkedIn connection, send a message. Try and see if you can book some time in people's diaries, definitely.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. So, ladies and gentlemen, before you go, why don't you put in the chat, what one action are you going to take as a result of today? It would be good to see. For me, I'm definitely going to be talking to you. Well, fortunately, I'm talking to you straight after this session. So I've got a couple of things on my mind. And Marsha, I loved what you were saying in terms of hosting. So yes, we are working together, which is great. Now that I know that that's one of the things that's on your radar, who knows? We might be able to actually facilitate that situation for you. Wouldn't that be a great thing? So we'll talk. And this is what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. You see, once you just take a step forward and you make yourself available, then literally opportunities can just start appearing once you start taking steps forward, right, Michelle?
Definitely. Once you put it out in the atmosphere, it's like it just all comes to you. I had two corporates ring today to say they've moved positions or they can't come to the event. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my days. And I thought, you know what? But I could have been downtrodden about it and like miserable and cussing. But you know what I did? I said, you know what? I am not stressing myself over no event. I'm not giving myself no mental illness for no one, for no meta, no for no brand. And I said, you know, God, just download and just meet. I followed up with three people that I met at the event. If you hear who one of these brands are, I need to wait for them to say yes for sure. And I'm like, yes,
This is how it works, right?
yes, it's good. It's all good. I'm not going to stress myself out, you know. What will be, will be.
And that's just next level that we're talking right there. But for those of you who know, you know, it's fantastic. So my encouragement, and the reason why I'm asking you to put it in the chat, what action that you're going to take. You see, when you do that, you're actually broadcasting a message to the universe in terms of intentionality, that this is what you want to do. And if you are one that keeps it real with yourself and you keep your commitments, then once you put it out there, then you must follow through, because then you're demonstrating to the universe that you really want this, you are committed to this. Follow through. So I see a number of you have put some comments in the chat. That is great. So great stuff. Barry says he's going to contact Michelle.
I love the action is I'm going to connect with Michelle. I love that's the action.
Yeah, Barry doesn't play. So, you know, and this is great to see. Um, you know, so and I don't know if you have seen this, Michelle. A lot of people come to these Zooms and things of this nature, and they just hear stuff, and then they say thank you, and they say goodbye. But I have found that really, the people that really win, it's about it's about taking the next step actively. What's your thoughts on that?
I totally agree. And I think there are two types of people, the doers and the listeners. And sometimes we're very good at listening and think, oh yeah, that's great. But actually doing it. Do you remember back in the day we used to have those red and black notebooks? Everyone had those red and black notebooks at every conference. I found a whole wad of mine, and I've been in this game for a long time. I didn't realize. And I was looking back at my notes and I thought, but how many of these have I actioned? And I thought to myself, if I had actioned half of these things I wrote in my notes all them years ago, I'll be a millionaire. I won't even be sitting here. I won't be sitting here, Tony. I won't be sitting here, Tony.
Like
I'm
that.
telling you, I'll be like millionaire, billionaire, because I had some great ideas. I heard some great nuggets. I didn't implement. I didn't.
So
So
there you go, ladies and
lesson learned.
lessons learned. And the thing that you get from going to events is so you know, guys, I'm all about energy and vibration. When you check someone's energy and vibration that you like and you resonate with, I would encourage you to do your best to don't stalk them, but like just be in their orbit. So if they're doing an event, be there. If they're doing something, be there, because you're feeling the vibe for a reason. And they probably have got something for you that you can only tap into if you're in their orbit. You can't get that from Zoom. Michelle, you're nodding your head in agreement.
Totally, totally. I'm in total agreement with you.
So I hope this has been useful for you, ladies and gentlemen. This has been really like, I mean, you brought the flavor. Yes, you always do, Miss D. I don't even call you Michelle anymore. I just call you Miss D, and we know what that stands for. It's all good. I feel so honored and so privileged to one be in a position where we are bringing these amazing speakers and experts to you. This is what the Data Success Academy is all about, really creating this new era of education and learning, things that they didn't teach us in school, college, or university that can really transform your life. So on the one hand, I'm grateful for these amazing experts that we have. And then I'm also grateful to you, those of you who are here this evening. You've made the time, made yourself available to tap in and tune in to new information that can broaden your horizon and empower you to live an even more fulfilled life. That is what this is really all about. And as I said earlier on, I was reminded of this as I spent 3 days with my spiritual mentor. And yes, it was just a joy to know that if we can make a difference in someone's life, to enhance, to nurture, to empower, so that we can all make a greater impact in the world, there is, in my humble opinion, nothing greater. So thank you all for joining us. It's been a wonderful evening. And once again, Michelle, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you at your event. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, enough love. Bye for now.